Hey guys, today, it's been a while since I made a video, but today we're gonna do changing the spark plugs on a 2014 Ford Fusion. It's very straightforward of a job. Honestly, once you have all your tools, if you feel confident about, obviously unscrewing things, it shouldn't take you more than 10 to 20 minutes, 15, just because you're careful. Um, I already took 3 of them out. I felt it's such an easy gig that I was just gonna do it on the last one so people have something to be able to use, if they want to do it themselves. There's no reason we're paying $250 to $400 for someone else to do something that shouldn't cost you more than 80 bucks parts. I got the Motorcraft brand that they recommend, and legit for these four I paid $70 and then some dielectric thing that I'm gonna add to it, 10 bucks. So 80 bucks out the door. I don't got to worry about it generally for about 100k miles. All right, so let's get started. I'm gonna show you guys kind of how it goes, and let me know if you got any questions in the comments. Drop a like. All right, so here's where we have a 4 spark plug housing things. I forget what the exact name is. I'm not a mechanic, so don't judge me. Sorry about the dirtiness over here. Don't know what's going on there. It's been like that since the beginning of the time. So I already did this one, and this one. I got this one left, so I just wanted to kind of show you guys the video on it. All right, so first things first, you're gonna give it a quick blow. If you have like a blowgun or something, I don't have a blowgun. I ended up using my leaf blower, so it's still gonna do you just want to get the big stuff that can potentially fall in there, right? The concern isn't necessarily on this first stage when you're opening it. It's after it's open. So first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna unscrew these, pretty much straightforward across the board on all of them. So that's the first stage. Then we're gonna remove these 8mm, and that's pretty much going to uncover this thing. So let me go ahead and get started. All right, so it's not gonna take much energy to loosen these bad boys. You even hear the crank. I would say when you're doing these things, be careful, just because they're so brittle, especially, you're supposed to do it, I guess, at 100k miles. Mine's at 106, so obviously these things aren't brand new anymore. So just careful, even removing things. It's not always about just tightening. So that's pretty much it. Now, you're going to wiggle this a little bit to remove it. Let me see if you can see in there. It almost looks like a rubbery gasket like this one, It's just, obviously it's in there and you've never taken it out, so just got to wiggle a little bit and then it pops out. And honestly, this is what they look like. It's like a weird housing. There's the bottom. That's pretty much what sits on top of your spark plug. So I'm gonna put this over here, and then I'm going to start loosening this bad boy. So it's in there. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you kind of saw a little bit of it. There it is. You definitely need a spark plug tool remover thing. Mine has the magnet. It's this bad boy. Got it on Amazon, 15 bucks. So let me just go ahead and get it ready and we'll do it. All right, so I'm gonna come around the corner. Don't forget, these are on very tight just because of time. So you do got to give it a little quick, hard, turn. But there, once you get it going, you hear it. And what some people do recommend, I do recommend it too, is once you're around here, turn it around and kind of pretend you're tightening it again, just so your threads don't, get messed up potentially. Any precaution you can take when you're doing this, you obviously definitely want to take it, right? I'm gonna do it again. And now I'll just go straight on to remove it. Once I'm past any of these hard stages, I'm just gonna go solid on this on my own. Just keep pulling that bad boy out. And there we go. And then this one's got oil, so that's obviously not a good thing. Okay, so I took it out. I just went on to make sure that I remove any potential oil that's in the actual threads down there. I'm not too concerned, really. I asked a friend really quick over the phone, and he said that sometimes, a lot of times, since people obviously fill through here, it's really where it ends up going sometimes in there, right? It could be other reasons. For now, I'm gonna just finish the gig, and you know, I'll update you guys if there's any issue. Obviously, I see that there's a bunch of oil here, so it could be a bunch of things. It's been like this for years, so I'm not too concerned right now. But yeah, let's continue. All right, so you guys can get a visual. This is what they look like when they're out. It's all 4 of them right here. Obviously that one got the oil, so it looks a little fresh or wet, but no concern. So I dried up as much as I could. So I got the mortar craft ones. Let me take these bad boys out. So this is what they look like, brand new. Where's this thing coming up? There you go. All right, so this is what they look brand new. You got to be very careful. You don't want to break any of the porcelain. You know, pretty much everything's good. There's people that really focus on checking that gap thing. It said it on these Ford ones that not to worry about it. So obviously I'm not a pro on that, so why am I going to even try? All right, so the other thing I've seen a lot of people in their videos do is they actually put some anti-seize, you know, stuff on here. When I Googled it and looked at specs and stuff like that, Ford doesn't recommend it, and the reason is it can give you a misreading when you're doing the actual torque. You know, they're recommending a dry install. So why am I going to do it differently? I don't know. I think a lot of people back in the day used to do that, and it's just habits that old mechanics have. Just like there's a few videos I've seen where people say to do this process when the engine is not hot but not cold, to do when it's warm. So then, you know, I you know, searched around on the internet, talked to some mechanics, and they said back in the day, the type of engines, the way they were made, everything, the equipment was cast iron and things like that. So that was a true fact. But now we work with a lot of aluminum things, and they do expand. So if you're doing it when it's hot, that aluminum is probably expanded, and you run the risk that you know, when you're threading it, you know, you can damage those threads because they're not in their normal state. So just stuff to keep in mind. If it works for you that way, do it. I'm not going to do it, so let's just carry on. All right, so I'm going to put it back in this. And be very careful when you're putting it. You don't want to, you know, break any of it. It's magnet, so I'm not too concerned. Then it's going to go straight in. And again, when you're turning, you don't want to get any force, you know, risk that cross thread action. Right now it looks like it's going in perfectly fine. I'm gonna go as far as I can by myself. And then once I get to a stage that I'm like, okay, now I need the wrench. I got my torque wrench here. I have it set to about 9.5. Ford recommends somewhere between 9. A lot of people go all the way to 11, so I'm just gonna go about 9.5. So I'm already there. And if you heard that, you know that it's done. You don't got to stress about it. You don't want to obviously break anything. That thing comes right back out. And that's pretty much what we do there. Next, I'm going to come to the boot, and I'm going to put some dielectric in there. So I'm going to put the phone down just so I can show you guys, and then I'll pick it back up. All right, so I put some in there. Not too much, just around. I grabbed a little pipette, and then I spread it around to the sides. I'm not trying to put it in that middle spring that's in there that you'll see if you ever do the job. Now what I'm going to do is pretty much rework it in there. It's not complicated. It's easier to put it in than put it out for sure. So that's back in there. Grab my bolt. My plan is to actually torque them as well. I believe it's a 5-pound on these. I'll double check and then I'll put it right now. But right now I'm just going to do it to the touch. Right, we're there. Plug the thing in just so I don't forget. And honestly, that process I just did is across the board, all 4 of them, and that's pretty much it. I did one at a time. I didn't want to run the risk of putting the wrong one in the wrong spot, and I'd rather just do it the way it was. So let's get the torque wrench ready, and we'll do that. All right, guys. Now I'm gonna tighten it to torque specs. I looked it up. It's at 5, so I'm gonna go with that. You hear that click? That means it's ready. Same thing over here. Ready. You don't need to over tighten. You know, some people do it just snug touch, you know, freehand. Go ahead and do it if you don't have the tools. And that's pretty much it. So see, this job on just that one alone, obviously because I had to clean up the oil, took me no more than 8 minutes, 7 minutes. If you do all of them, half hour. You guys can easily do this, and don't overpay anyone ever again. All right, guys, well, that was pretty much the entire job on it. If you guys have any questions, comments, anyone knows what the oil spilling on the side could be, if they've had that issue, let me know. Shoot a comment. If you have questions, let me know. I'll post the tools I used on the description. And thank you for watching. And if you learned something new, or perfected something you were already doing, give a shout out. I appreciate it. And thank you. We'll be around for the next video. I think I'm trying to do a brake bleed on my wife's BMW, but we'll see. Till later.